Founder Julian Assange, he made his first public appearance yesterday after spending the last couple of months inside Ecuador's embassy in London. British police are massed outside of the embassy, blocking his travel to the South American country, which has offered him asylum. Assange says he's being persecuted for being a whistleblower. And guess what? He called out the United States.
As WikiLeaks stands under threat, so does the freedom of expression and the health of all our societies. We must use this moment to articulate the choice that is before the government of the United States of America. I ask President Obama to do the right thing. The United States must renounce its witch hunt against WikiLeaks.
At least for now, if Assange wants to make his way to Ecuador, he'll have to resort to some cloak and dagger exploits to avoid arrest. He faces extradition to Sweden, where he faces allegations of sexual assault. CNN's Brian Todd looks at some of the ways Assange could plot an escape.
He's reported to be tense and going a bit stir-crazy. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange holed up inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He's been there for about 2 months. Now that Ecuador's granted him asylum and Britain's refused to honor it, a classic standoff is underway. If Assange takes one step outside the embassy...
My understanding is that the British would arrest him and extradite him to Sweden.
That's where Assange is wanted for questioning over sexual assault claims. With the fugitive inside, in what's at the moment considered Ecuadorian territory, and with British police outside ready to pounce, scenarios are being debated over a possible Assange escape. Is this an option? Getting smuggled out in the trunk of a diplomatic car? A former British diplomat says the car would be considered Ecuadorian domain. British police, he says, could stop it, but not search it. Couldn't necessarily pull Assange out. But there's a hitch in that plan. The hitch? Apparently there's no garage available to the Ecuadorian embassy. We're told there's only one entrance to the embassy right here, and obviously that's not an option. The building is completely surrounded by British police. They're in the streets, the alleys, the side streets. If anyone was going to try to take Assange from the building to a waiting car, the police would get him. The police are also reported to be monitoring the so-called communal areas of the building, the hallways and the elevators, preventing Assange from taking an elevator up to the roof where a helicopter could pick him up. Police can monitor the hallways and elevators because the Ecuadorian embassy occupies only one floor, the first floor, and not even all of that. It's here, right where this window is, and Assange can barely step into a hallway without risking apprehension. If he did somehow get to a car, there are airports, large and small, in every direction. But experts say once he got to one of those, he could easily be captured. He could actually be smuggled out in a crate or a large bag. If it's labeled a diplomatic parcel, the British police can't open it. But
I think they could delay it. I think they could hold it. I think they could keep it in a very cold or very hot place or something like that.
But former British Ambassador Oliver Miles doesn't see that happening. One thing that could happen, he says, Assange could simply take refuge inside the Ecuadorian embassy indefinitely. It's happened before. In 1956, when the Soviet Union invaded Hungary, Cardinal Joseph Mindszenty, a top Catholic official there, took refuge inside the American embassy in Budapest. The good cardinal was granted asylum and lived inside the American embassy for 15 years. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
Wow. You may be